Alright, welcome to another edition of JTJU, where we all try to be just a little better at the game of Clash of Clans. Got a base emergency screencast for you this time. It's a new format, basically trying to look at a base that is bad, why it's bad, to help you kind of see the principles that are missing, and then either tweak that base or recreate a new base, demonstrating the principles as they should be used. Base emergency. So let's first take a look at the bad base. Alright, so this is the guest of honor for this base emergency, Svop 123. The first thing we want to do is take a look at the base at its level and think about the typical type of attacks that are coming against bases at this level. And in the case of Town Hall 8, I would say Dragon is the big one, then maybe Hog, depending on how badly set up you are, and if not that, then Go Wipe. Usually maybe a Go Wee Wee, but Go Wipe more likely. So first with Hogs, I mean, we got problems right out of the gate. If you look at his air defense, if I was playing, we were talking Hogs, sorry. So with Hogs, I mean, the big thing you want to look at is like, well, is there anywhere that he can totally take out the Hogs? Because the Hogs, what you want is big bombs near the whiz towers, so that you can wound them and then blow them away with the whiz tower. And sadly, his big bombs are all over the place. Like there's one here, there's one here, and one here. Nowhere near the whiz tower. So horrible big bomb placement. Translation: Hog, risk. Moving on. Let's just say, well, you know, Tim, well, what if we could actually survive that? What about Dragon? How about Dragoon, that kind of stuff? Well, with Dragon, you know, what we'd be doing is typically Dragon is trying to do a lightning on one and then push through, or a rage, and then raging through to the other ones. So if he did lightning, he'd probably lightning the backside because it's closest to the two whiz towers, and they're going to come this way, cut here, and then the main force right up the middle, right? And that is, these guys are in big trouble because if you notice, the air mines are not placed properly. See how there is one right here? There's one right there, but there's not one here. What you want really is the air mine to be in front, and this seeker should be in the back. In all cases, there's no air mine here, and there's no seeker here. There's no seeker here, and there's no air mine there. So bad mine placement around the ADs, whiz towers, and trying to have them in support of the air defenses. And you can kind of see here how Svop's whiz towers, well, this guy is properly set up. Because you want, you know, so if the balloons come in, you want the air defense hammering over the top of it. This guy has got no support, and this guy's kind of got support, so I guess he's getting 2 out of 3. So 2 out of 3 score there, Svop. But the air defense overall, I would say, could use some work because you're a little too close together here and a little too close to the edge. Bad. This one I like. This one here is a good one. So anyway, the Dragon's not horrible. The Dragon defense is horrible, but it's not. It could be improved. And lastly, against P.E.K.K.A, actually that's probably the closest he comes to doing okay, because he's at least got his Teslas inside. What I would like to see though is where the Teslas are isolated, not in the same open walking space, because if you can get those P.E.K.K.As in there, they're going to wander out here and be raged up and then take those two things out. We don't want to see that. Same with this guy. So ideally they would be kind of hanging out here, you know, kind of on the inside of the walls. So you can kind of see that in all three aspects of attacking, he's not doing so good. So let's just get right to it. Let's go to redesigning the base. Alright, here we go. So the first thing we're going to do is clear out the middle to try to see if we can just fix it by tweaking, moving things around in there. So once we do that, we place our double big bombs in the middle, because that's the biggest impact to base defense building placement, because you need to have them in a certain spot, take up a lot of space to get it done, and you got to have non-defensive buildings around it to help control pathing. So that's what I'm doing there. Those Teslas are the drawing points to the double big bombs from both north and south. So once I've done that, I lay down the storage units to provide the insulation layer against air attacks to the ADs, slowing them down and letting the air attacks shoot them longer. We then get the wizard towers in front of the ADs. That's the typical position you want to go for, because the air defense can shoot over, balloons can come in and get blown up while the air defense and then are weakened by like a typical air mine, and then the air defense towers can one-shot a lot of the balloons down. Now we're testing out, we're getting the walls done to see how that looks. We're going with mortars on the outside because we feel like they're more not as valuable as wizard towers, and so we'll typically try to push those more to the edge if we have to. If we have to choose between the two, that's what we'll put there. The archer towers themselves will be symmetrically deployed, usually around the town hall, ideally in support, meaning the range overlaps the town hall. But if we can't pull that off, then at least get them symmetrically around it so that they're not all taken out in one given push. So at this point I'm trying to figure out whether or not the walls on the outer side are good enough or not. And specifically I'm worried about the big open courtyards on each side of the town hall to the left and right, whether or not that's going to be something the enemy can just blow right through and then take the town hall and continue on to a 3-star. So I'm tweaking around trying to see if I can strengthen that, part of which is to use the third big bomb and trying to find a spot for it that's actually between two defensive buildings. I settle on that point there, but then decide it's not any good and pull the big bomb out. I'll get to it later. The other thing I'm worried about is the ADs were too clustered on the left side, so now you see I've spread them more into 3 separate compartments. I think that's a better layout now that I see it. So we'll continue with that through the rest of the build. At this point, I think, what am I doing? Moving very, oh, I see. Yeah, so now at this point I'm trying to work on the pathing that comes into the double big bombs, which actually would come from 12 o'clock, by shifting the 3 compartments there around so that the defensive buildings kind of lead from one to the other down to that archer tower right next to the big bombs. So I figure I got that pretty much set. I throw that mine next to the big bombs to the left and we're good. At this point I'm still, oh, now what am I doing? Oh, leftover wall segments. Yeah, so when I add the leftover wall segments, I initially was thinking, well, maybe a wall with a gap, we can put a spring trap there, mess with some deployment. But instead I go with the 2 floating walls on each side because that kind of messes with deployment, which is what we want to do, is really kind of make it a little harder for them to get a big force directly into the middle. They can come around more of the edges that our defenses are more outside, so we could pull them to the outside with those 2 floater walls a little bit. Maybe not. We'll see. Now we're still trying to find a spot for our 3rd big bomb, as well as this last cannon. And so you can see there I'm trying to bounce out the wall to get it inside the main defensive structure. I don't like that bubble, so I'm going to actually shift the inside of the base to the left because I see that I have a little bit of space there, enough to pull it over one, and then everything else shifts over, and voila, the cannon is inside. Now at this point I still don't have, though, the big bomb place, so I'm trying to figure out where to put that. So I'm going to shift over because I see that gap next to the clan castle could be opened up, and there you have it, to make space for the big bomb. And the pathing's not bad. See how the whiz tower leads to the mortar, or I decided that wasn't good enough, so now I'm tweaking around trying to find a better way to draw them from mortar through the big bomb up or down through the big bomb to the mortar. I just noticed the king pad, as I mentioned earlier, wasn't where I want it, so I swapped it back over by the archer or the air defense tower. It's always something I try to look for. And at this point I'm still trying to see if I can improve the pathing, increase the odds that the deployment of troops from any angle will run through that 3rd bomb. I feel pretty good about the double big bombs pathing right now. So I'm tweaking, looking at it, messing around, leading different pathings, different directions. So at this point I'm laying down the spring traps. One of the niceties of having a more spread base is we can kind of easily pick where the spring traps go between defensive buildings of flow, and that'll about do it. So hopefully that's of value to you guys. You can see the link here if you want to check it out on Layout Builder. Otherwise, as always, good luck in your clan wars and clash on. Talk to you later.